Hola y bienvenido a Learn Spanish en SpanishDict.com. Soy Paralee Whitmire y soy tu profesora. Today you'll be learning about household chores and impersonal commands while practicing the present progressive, like tienes que lavar los platos, no puedo, estoy estudiando y mucho más. ¡Vámonos! Nadie le gusta una casa sucia. Things are much nicer and cuter when they are limpia. Don't you agree? Today you'll be learning how to tell the people in your house to clean up using the phrase hay que, which is an impersonal command to say that someone needs to do something, and tener que, which is a more direct command to say that someone has to do something. You'll also be practicing your present progressive to give excuses for why you don't need to do those chores. Let's start with the most polite way to suggest that someone clean up the mess that is your house. Say you walk into the kitchen and it's piled to the ceiling with dirty dishes. What's the first thing that you think of? Someone should really clean this mess up, right? Here you're implying that someone, but probably not you, should get to work and clean up those dirty dishes. And you're hoping that someone hears what you said and actually starts washing. To do this in Spanish, all you have to say is hay que, which in general means someone should, or someone has, or it is necessary. And you follow it up with an infinitive. Do you remember what an infinitive is? It's the basic form of a verb in Spanish, and it always ends in AR, ER, or IR and means to something. For example, in the kitchen, los platos están sucios. Hay que lavar los platos. Hay que lavar los platos. El suelo está sucio. Hay que barrer y fregar el suelo. Hay que barrer y fregar el suelo. El cubo de basura está lleno. Hay que sacar la basura. Hay que sacar la basura. ¿Está bien? When using hay que, make sure you don't conjugate the verb that follows. It always has to stay as an infinitive, even if you don't directly translate it as to something. Now, when you go around your house saying that someone needs to clean things up, make sure you have an excuse ready for why you aren't that someone. This is where the present progressive comes in very handy. Let's say the living room is dirty. La sala está sucia. I'm going to give out some chores for someone to do, but you always have an excuse handy. First, dime, no puedo, which means I can't. Repite, no puedo. Bien. After you say no puedo, conjugate your excuse into the present progressive, changing the estar into the yo form, estoy, and the following infinitive into a gerund by taking off the ending and adding ando or yendo. ¿Listo? Hay que pasar la aspiradora en la sala. Hay que pasar la aspiradora en la sala. Hay que quitar el polvo en la sala. Hay que quitar el polvo en la sala. Alright, I hope you said estoy leyendo for that last one, which is the correct pronunciation. But if we spell it like the rules tell us to spell it, take off the ER and add I-E-N-D-O, it looks kind of funny, and it's hard to pronounce with all three vowels in a row. So instead, in the correct spelling, that I changes to a Y, And you'll need to do this for all verbs that have a vowel on the end of the stem after you take off the ER or IR ending. A few other examples are caer, which means to fall, and it becomes cayendo. And traer, which means to carry, becomes trayendo. All right, let's move outside. Chores outside during the summer can be unbearable, so I hope you have some good excuses this time. Don't forget to use the present progressive. Hay que cortar el césped. Hay que cortar el césped. Hay que regar las flores. Hay que regar las flores. Hay que lavar el coche. Hay que lavar el coche. All right, let's continue with some more chores. Your house is still dirty and no one volunteered to do anything. I think it's time to start making some commands. The easiest way to command someone to do something in Espanol is to use the verb tener plus que plus an infinitive. Do you remember what tener means? To have. Good. In this case, you're going to need to conjugate tener to whomever you are commanding so that they know who you're talking to. Then just follow it up with que and whatever you want them to do in its infinitive form. For example, if you want to tell someone you need to clean the bathroom, you're going to need to use the tu form of the verb tener. Do you remember what this form is? Tienes. Remember that tener is a stem-changing verb inside the boot. So if you wanted to say you have to clean the bathroom, the full phrase would be Tienes que limpiar el baño. Tienes que limpiar el baño. Easy, right? All you have to do is conjugate tener to the person you are commanding, follow it with que, and then the chore in the infinitive form. So why don't you practice commanding your housemates to clean it up? I'll give you the subject in parentheses, and then tener, which you need to conjugate to that subject, and then a new chore. You don't need to do anything to the new chore. Just say it out loud after you conjugate tener. For example, here's a picture of a man tidying up the living room, or straightening up the living room. The subject in this case is a person's name, his name. So you would conjugate tener to the third person singular, tiene. Ramón tiene que arreglar la sala. Ramón tiene que arreglar la sala. Ramón has to tidy up the living room. Es todo. ¿Estás listo? What does Maria have to do? ¿Qué tiene que hacer María? María tiene que poner la mesa. María tiene que poner la mesa. ¿Qué tienes que hacer? Tienes que lavar la ropa. Tienes que lavar la ropa. ¿Qué tiene que hacer Martín? Martín tiene que planchar la ropa. Martín tiene que planchar la ropa. ¿Qué tienen que hacer? Tienen que hacer la cama. Tienen que hacer la cama. ¿Qué tienes que hacer? Tienes que dar de comer al perro. Tienes que dar de comer al perro.